So it's confirmed. I'm going to North Korea.
You are going to North Korea.
A country I never thought I was... it was never really on my radar until Richard said, "Guy, let's do the Pyongyang Half Marathon in April." I was like, what the fuck you on about, Richard? And he was like, no, I've always wanted to go. It will be amazing. It's, you know, a country that not many people can get into. But, you know, from what I've heard, it's really, tourist-wise, it's maybe about 100 or a few hundred that are allowed to go to this half marathon. But that's the only time they allow tourists into the country. I think you kind of read up a little bit more.
I read up a little bit, and it said that they had one last year. I think 100 sounds about right for this year. They've done, pre-COVID, they did some half marathons. They've got a marathon there, a 10K, a 5K. But it's all around the birthday of the big man himself.
Kim Jong-un.
Kim Jong-un.
Yeah.
So commemorating their birthday. But, yeah, you know, race fee, it's over $100 US, £100.
Yeah.
Like entering a High Rocks, really.
Well, it's like, yeah, a High Rocks and a dictatorship, which should be quite interesting. I mean, I'm just curious to see this country, see how it all works in there. Like, what are the people like? I mean, we never hear any news from it. Everything's censored there. They're really not allowed to know about the Western world. It's going to be an adventure. I mean, I'm there for 5 days. We fly into Beijing. Then we go from Beijing, we fly into Pyongyang airport. So we need a visa to get into China. Then we need another visa to get into North Korea. Fortunately, I don't have a criminal record, so there should be no problems with that.
What about Richard?
Well, I think I imagine he doesn't.
Yes,
but I'm not too sure. So
let's just say, for the sake of it, that he doesn't have a criminal record.
I think it's gonna be good fun. I mean, being 7 days with Richard is going to be interesting, I think.
Have you ever spent that long with him?
No.
I guess Richard's going to come on the podcast soon.
Yeah.
Who is this famous Richard?
Richard
we're talking about?
Oh gosh, how do I best explain him? He came from property, ran successful businesses, started off living on a council estate. Came from nothing, built his property businesses up from nothing, was very, very successful, ran a company called Cathedral, and now he sold his businesses and now he runs a pub in Ticehurst called The Bell. But I've been training Richard for, 3 years now. We're very close. I mean, I consider him a good friend as well as I train him as a client, but it's not that sort of relationship. I get him fit, he goes away doing mad adventures, and then he comes back and he's like, right, Guy, we need to train 3-4 days a week and let's absolutely smash out the park. So this is the goal at the moment, is getting ready for this half marathon, which will be, I mean, North Korea, I just never on the radar before, but now it's very much so happening. So.
And I guess it's one of those trips. I had it the other month when I had a couple of mates running the Florence Marathon.
Yeah.
Of course, I wasn't racing, so it was different being a spectator. But it's one of those which you are travelling to a completely different part of the world. Like you say, one which we've got no idea what goes on there. Obviously, I assume like no cameras. It's not going to be something that's going to be allowed to be recorded by you.
I imagine
you're super careful with that.
Yeah, I'm going to I don't know the laws about filming or taking photos there, but I imagine you're not allowed to. Yeah. If we do get the all clear to take photos, I imagine it will be staged places.
Yeah.
So
oh my gosh, it'd be like on a movie set. Could you imagine if you weren't actually allowed in the city and all you were doing was led onto like a movie set half marathon and you weren't even allowed to see the proper North Korea?
Well, that's pretty much what it is. I really, when the half marathon's going on, I imagine all the public is let to be known, like, this is happening, there's tourists coming, everyone's got to act normally. So
it's like Ofsted in like primary school. Yeah. They come along, it's like, right, today you got to laugh at my jokes. You got to put your hand up in class.
Yeah. So, and you know, the craziest thing, so all along the whole course, there's people and they're just clapping non-stop, cheering you on, like told
Spooky.
to, which is almost like robotic, like which I've heard.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think all I really know about it is I watched a runner, influencer, do the Pyongyang Half Marathon, I think last year or a couple of years ago, and I just watched one of his reels, and it just seemed a little bit surreal. But other than that, that's all the information I really kind of know. I mean, it's going to be an
exciting
adventure. It's going to be unique. But Charlie and I have just spent about half an hour fleshing out my 10-week half marathon plan. And it looks, oh my goodness, it looks...
Guy thinks it looks hard. I think he'll be absolutely fine. Although, giving you 10 weeks for a half marathon, you're in good shape. You've got a good base going into it.
Yeah, I mean, I've been doing a substantial amount of 5Ks and some intervals, but I've not been running anything over 25 minutes, to be honest, this year, or the past couple months. So I've got a base. It's put me in I'm not starting from completely nothing, but, aiming for 135, I'll be happy with. Sub 140, I'll be really happy with, but I'm not a long distance runner. I'm an explosive power athlete, and I bloody sign up for these things. I've done 2 marathons now and maybe 3 or 4 half marathons. I hate them.
Really?
Well,
what's your prep been like going into most of them? Have you been adequately prepared?
the one I did in Portugal, we did the Lisbon one. I had a really good prep leading up for it, and I was on track to do like a 140-ish pace. And it was in April, end of May, April. Fucking heat wave just before it.
Nasty.
And it was, I mean, you go from the English winter running in like 5 degrees, chilly, and then going there and just it buggered me up. It was really demotivating when you're running around the course, and every, I'd say, few hundred meters, there's someone down with heat stroke, like on the floor, like dying, and then in your head you're like, do I keep pushing, or am I going to end up like that? So it's like, there's like real fear that's going through your head, and you're so hot. And there was one sprinkler on the whole course because they didn't expect it to be that warm.
How hot was it? Because obviously for distance running, it doesn't need to be too hot for it to be a bit of a challenge.
It was, I mean, I say it's so hot. It was 24, 25 degrees.
No, that is pretty hot for like a distance event.
No wind, no cloud, and then there must be 10,000 runners on the day. Tarmac's hot. That was an early. I only managed to get maybe like a 150 that day, just because I really slowed the last half hour. I was just fearful because I was seeing so many people down with heat stroke, and you're just like, oh my goodness, I don't want to push that hard. I've got to go out drinking tonight.
Yeah, I got priorities. I've got things to do.
I've got to have a great night after my half marathon. I think I ended up out on the piss until like 3 a.m. that night.
I mean, even if you got heat stroke, you probably still drag yourself out.
Yeah, and I had the worst chafe ever. Oh my goodness, I was waddling about.
What were you wearing? Non-sexual question.
What was I wearing? I was wearing just these shorts, which didn't resolve chafe.
Too much netting.
And I remember I was walking around with like John Wayne all night. I was like, yeah, that's me. And Lisbon hills like that.
So what? Yeah, it was hilly, because Lisbon's a hilly like city, but it's
the half marathon wasn't that hilly.
Right, okay.
It's not. It's, you kind of go over the bridge, and then there are some light hills, but it's actually quite a nice race. There's not too much incline. But
do we know what Pyongyang's going to be that time of year, heat wise?
No idea. I haven't even looked into it. I haven't even looked into the course. As I say, it's only been confirmed today. So, it was 50-50 for a few months, a couple months. Is it happening? Is it not? We were on a massive waiting list. We didn't know if it. Then it was like last week. It was like maybe like a 70% chance yes, 30% chance no, and then I got the all clear today.
Because you need to be part of like some sort of organisation. Some tour organisation, right? You can't enter independently.
No, so we were.
How have you got this? What's Richard been able to do to get this entry?
So the guy who organises it is like a travel agency type person who organises holidays, and I don't know. Richard was out in where was he? He was doing a talk in...
He was in South Korea.
In Seoul. And I think he built a relation with someone who could get us on the waiting list, something like that. But, and then that's kind of how it happened. But, yeah, I mean, yeah, it's going to be... I don't know what it's going to be.
It's one of those. How are you going to be? How do you prepare for it? Who knows?
Yeah,
just got to do a little bit of running before.
I'm gonna prep as well as I can, and hopefully I can get somewhat of a good time. I did at one point think maybe I'll just take it easy and run around with Richard, but then I kind of like may as well go for it.
You got to go for it. And we were talking earlier. You work best when you've got something to look forward to. You've got a goal in mind and working towards it.
Yeah, I was discussing earlier with Charlie. I was doing. I can't remember who recommended the drill. It was maybe just some late night TikTok or Instagram scrolling, some form of guru on social media. I don't know, but it was just a drill I thought through where you pick the 3 points in your life where you feel the most happy and a sense of accomplishment, like just real like, wow, I look back on that and I was so happy in that period. And then also the 3 lows in your life, like what, where you're really upset, really down in the dumps. And you try and work out the causation of the 3 things that made you the most happy and the 3 things that made you the most sad. And when I drew the lines together, it kind of came down to a sense of achieving a goal or, being happy with, the outcome of my actions and then becoming dissatisfied with what has happened. If I was aiming towards something and that thing might have ended. So yeah, I do work best with a goal in mind. I think most people do. I think there was no real surprise there, but you said you had something slightly different.
I mean, I think most of the time we'd love to be people that would be intrinsically motivated and great without a goal, validation and stuff. But yeah, you sit on I think one of the things that you highlighted as well, it was a lot about exceeding expectations or not meeting expectations. And again, it's picking something that is, it is stretching you. It is something that you probably will have doubts about doing in a positive way, and it will end up with you achieving something which you didn't think you could do, but not doing too much so that you set yourself up for failure and overreaching. Although, I don't know, deluded, just like self-confidence is never a bad thing sometimes.
Yeah,
you just absolutely shoot for it and see what happens. But mine, what was mine? Yeah, mine's slightly different. It's a lot of mine, I guess. Talking about like happiness, I'm not necessarily someone that is like feels the emotion of being like ecstatic or happy. I guess it probably comes from the last few years. If I don't have the main thing that I enjoy doing, it's quite hard to access that level of like freedom of being able to say yes to doing a lot of fitness stuff and to move pain-free and all of that. But I kind of prioritize just a feeling of calmness and peace over like ecstasy and happiness. And so it's more about being kind of consistent day to day.
Yeah.
And yeah, just having that nice equanimity, I think, and to be able to, have an equal mind in uncertainty. However, we always go into these sort of deep rabbit holes, but we're going to keep it nice and relaxed today, nice and simple. What is the thing? So we went through the plan. You've got 3 days of running, 1 easy, like kind of medium distance run, 1 session, and then 1 long run.
Yeah, and session you kind of skip over there, but those
intervals, yeah.
Those are freaking horrible, man. I mean, like some of the gnarly ones were what we had a 8 by 1K at.
You're building up to it. That's going to be like your 7th week. You start off with 4 by 1K.
Yeah,
very very cruisy. You'll be all right. We're easing into. We're not going super tough. We're not like stretching too much. We're building into it.
But I think it's going to be a somewhat good balance, considering that we're still going to have like 3 strength and conditioning days in there, and we went lower body, upper body, full body. It's just that full body day, thinking about that and how we plan it having that on the Sunday, so then I have my easy run on the Monday, but then I've also got a long run on that Saturday. That's like a hard 3 days. It's quite a block. Yeah, but then I got that Friday off.
I think the good thing about we'll talk through it week to week, and you'll know where you can, if you want to switch around the days. Like, you've got the work ethic to be able to train, and you've also got the flexibility of training in the gym. Yeah. And so if you find after week 2, when you start to increase the mileage, the intensity, and you find that, okay, your legs are a bit cooked on the Thursday for the session, because of the gym session the day before, you're doing a sort of training volume that you can recover, and you can place things in different spots and have a little play around with it.
Yeah, I mean, it's the intervals which you've really introduced into my life, which have made me run a lot better, because I knew I had to do intervals, but still, I say it all the time, people know what to do, yet they don't do it. And when I started doing, you wrote me a program for my 10K last year, and I managed to get like a 40-minute 45 time, which was for me like so insane.
Yeah, it's impressive. It's really impressive.
And I was still weighing about like 90 kilos, 91 kilos doing that. So I was like chugging along, running around with some like 65, 70 kilo people. And I was like, no, you don't understand.
Beating the broad beans.
Yeah. This is power right here. I should be in the 100 meters, not in this fucking 10K.
You're like Tommy Fury coming into the final sprint.
Yeah.
Just charging down.
Just straight up suffering for like 40 minutes of my life. But yeah, I mean, it was probably the most impressive run. I'd probably say up there with, I think my 5K is like, best ever is like 19:30 or something, which I'm pretty chuffed with.
I mean that equates to 40 minutes something. 10K 40 flat,
but it's
really good.
I'm not a runner. Like, I'm not a distance runner, having done explosive exercise my whole life with CrossFit, powerlifting, Olympic weightlifting. Then rugby, it is more stop-start explosiveness. There is a level of endurance you need, but my muscles are more dominantly fast twitch rather than tapping into that kind of slower twitch which I need for that distance. So something I struggle with is like, especially when I've done some marathons, is cramps, just because my muscles like it's quad cramps, hamstring cramps.
You do have a lot of muscles compared to your average runner.
Well, yeah, so, but I mean, other people do it. You see a lot of hybrid guys like it, but it hurts. But I don't know. Do I enjoy it somewhat? Do I feel drawn to do another marathon? Absolutely no way. Like,
marathons, it's been normalised.
They're not normal.
No, they're not normal. They're even a half marathon's not normal.
Yeah.
Like, we're going through the program, and you're looking at, you're training 6 days a week. You do have a variety of training, and you're training only 6 days a week, in the sense that, like, you could easily, for a lot of people, they'll chuck in 5 days of running a week, a couple of gym sessions.
But okay, so
it is already a really high level of, it takes a lot of time.
For the listeners, right? So if you want to factor in gym workouts into your plan, like, I could have probably stuck at 2 gym workouts, like a lower and upper, or I could have probably gone full body pull, full body push, like some form of full body split. But how many to get for a half marathon, a marathon, a 10K, to get good? Like, is it 3 sessions a week? Is it 4 sessions a week? Is it more better?
No, I wouldn't say more is better. If you're focusing, your main goal is the half marathon. Mm-hmm. So you are someone that wants to be a better runner rather than a
I'm just looking to. I don't want to get any stronger on this plan. I just want to maintain.
A lot of it is maintenance, and I think for a lot of the time, 2 gym sessions a week is plenty.
Yeah,
I've done 3 a week when I've been really focusing on like winter training, but even then, and this is the main thing, and this is what we'll probably do with you, is your gym sessions. It's great doing the big lifts, but we need to make sure that we review all of your previous injuries, like you coming back from hamstring tear, this time like last year, or a couple of months later, like last year, and basing your gym workouts around what we call like prehab or rehab.
Yeah.
So it's like it's pretty much, and this is what I've created if I were to do my own gym stuff now, like once I get healthy, is it's all based off of your previous injuries. It's all particular to you. And the extra strength work that you would normally be doing is kind of optional, not really necessary. It's allowing you to, because you're going to build strength through the mileage, and as you build it up, your body will then tolerate more mileage. It's making sure that you're not breaking down like in between, and you're not just hammering and going way too far on the running and not enough on the strength training.
Well, that's why we waxed a lot of hamstring isolation, and then a lot of, because it's my Achilles that's generally flares up when I'm doing the longer distance stuff. So we've done a lot of calf work within that plan too, and I guess that's why generic running plans, especially when they involve strength and conditioning, is why they can't. The strength and conditioning needs to be so specific, injury dependent on, like, someone might always get like a tight hip, and then it's like you need to do more hip flexor work or glute medius work, etc. So it is quite particular, and there's only so far I guess you can get with generic strength and conditioning plans for running.
And it's a balance between adding in things that are a weakness, but not hyper fixating on injuries, whether it be like left and right side of the body. So if you've like, what side did you do your tear on? Right. You're right. And so you'll probably, through that rehab process, is your focus on getting your right side maybe stronger. And I've done it before where I've just focused on the injured side and I've neglected the other. And then you experience a seesaw of injuries where you're hyperfixating on the thing that's torn or the thing that's weak, and you end up going the other way. And then you have that imbalance. And so it's the benefit of strength training, giving yourself enough time that you can, yes, focus a bit on your weaker side, but also develop strength like bilaterally, like both sides. And then it's also building a base level of strength that can get you to handle the mileage whilst you build it up. So for the first couple of weeks, so we're not going straight into running like half marathon pace for stuff and doing a lot of mileage. But then we know that, and we'll talk about your comp this weekend, is you have been training a bit of like conditioning, but mainly a lot of strength work. So you are well conditioned to then go into, which is what it probably is. I mean, you've got 10 weeks until the half marathon. It's pretty much an 8-week block, end up with like a 10 miler at half marathon pace. And then you're going to go easier for the 10 days building up to the race. So it's really worth mentioning that when people are thinking about making, it's the problem with signing up to these big races to give you something to aim for, is that you've had months of strength training building up to it. You're not going in completely, like raw.
Yeah, going from
into week one. You're not going from scratch.
Like someone joining here and they haven't worked out in ages and they signed up for the London Marathon in 3 months, and you're like, right, well, we'll work out a plan. We're going to we can do the best possible, but there's like zero base to go off, and you're like, right. But it's always challenging. But yeah, it's more of an adaptation my body has to go through to the kind of endurance stuff than a complete revamp of new training.
So what is I mentioned your comp this weekend.
Yeah.
Talk me through that. So yeah, this is going to be the thing you've been training for over the past couple of months.
Yeah, so ATHX is an interesting one. So having competed in a lot of CrossFit over the years. Now the reason I would have never called myself a CrossFitter. Maybe when I was a teenager and I was watching the games a lot, and I was specifically training CrossFit and I was working at CrossFit gyms. But now it's just it's the style of training I do. I like to do varied style. Like I like to lift heavy. I like to do metcons. I like to do bodybuilding. I like to do Olympic weightlifting, calisthenic stuff. I like to run. So it kind of, when I compete in CrossFit, which I usually do maybe 1 or 2 competitions a year, I'm able to express my fitness and my ability well because of the skill sets I've built up over the years. And CrossFit enables me to do that. Although I wouldn't ever say I train like a CrossFitter, it's just a way of me competing and doing decent or like quite good at like just local comps and regional stuff, like nothing crazy. So I really like it because I like to look at fitness as a whole. I like to look at coordination, strength, power, conditioning, speed, agility, etc. And that's how I train my body in the gym. I train fitness as a whole. I'm never focused on, I just want to look as good as possible, or I just want to be as strong as possible, or I just want to be as cardiovascular like that. I just like to be well-rounded because it enables me to never get bored. Because there's just so many aspects I like to improve, and sure, there's periods of time where I'll focus more on one side or to kind of up that, and that can become exciting, and then maybe you achieve that goal, and then like, okay, I've got to go into this thing, and my body's somewhat adapted to most things. But what ATHX is it's got a strength component, a conditioning component, and a MetCon component. It's not got many skillful movements. So it's getting quite popular. So there's not like any Olympic weightlifting or gymnastic stuff or like complicated movements that require quite a lot of skill and learning to do it, which CrossFit does have. So it reduces that barrier for entry, which I think it's going to be a more popular thing over the years. And I think it'll probably become maybe more popular than high rocks in a way. Because it really defines fitness as a whole a better way. So, for instance, the strength component is a 1 rep max overhead press, a 3 rep max back squat, and a 5 rep max deadlift. So a pretty well-rounded, established, it defines strength quite well through that. So then your score is the total weight. Then after that, we have a conditioning component, which is in 22 minutes. You have to do the one we're doing is a 750 meter run, 750 meter row, back and forth, as much distance as possible in that time, which is gnarly.
Yeah, you're doing it in a pair, aren't you?
Yeah, so
with Alice.
So we're doing it as a pair, myself and Alice is like super fit CrossFit woman. And I've competed with Alice since, maybe 2020, 2019. So we've done quite a lot of comps together over the years. And then we have to finish off with, it's like a MetCon. It's like equivalent of like when you break it down to individuals, it's like 30 cal on the ski erg, 30 walking lunges with like 40 kilos, 30 dumbbell snatches, 30 box jump overs, 30 burpees, 30... Gosh, I can't even remember all the movements. 30 something else, and then a 30.
Right, make sure you look it up before the weekend.
Calories on the ski erg to finish with. So that is, we did it on the weekend. We flew through it, and it was really quite easy. That component's easy. The strength bit will do well in. That conditioning bit is going to prove quite difficult. Just because my pacing on the run, I'm a faster runner than Alice. So she's going to have to go really fast on the rower, and then I can have a bit of active recovery on the rower whilst she's slow on her run. So
yeah, because you're taking turns. It's not, you're not both doing the rower and then you're not both doing the run. It's one of you's on the rower, the other one's on the run.
Exactly. So it's nice. I think I'm just doing it as an introduction, and Alice and I have said, like, if we enjoy it, we'll sign up to another one maybe in 6 months' time, and then we can have a bit more time to prep and really kind of know what the competition's going to be like. Because we just entered, so there's like 3 divisions. There's the Pro, there's the ATHX, and the ATHX Lite. And we just entered the medium division just to kind of get a feel of the comp. But if we really enjoy it, we'll do the Pro division. We probably should be in that. But as we're just dipping our foot in the water, I think it's quite a nice way to start out and experience it and have a good time.
Yeah, you don't want to show people up your first time, If you accidentally go and win the Pro division, no,
I don't think there's any.
What's the standard like up at the top?
So Alice, I found this out from Alice the other day. I'm so out of touch with CrossFit now, but 2 years ago at the CrossFit Games, which is the biggest CrossFit competition on the planet, an athlete died during the swim. he drowned because the course wasn't laid out well enough. There wasn't enough lifeguards, and it was tragic.
Open water
swim. But what they did is they did a run to a swim, which you should never program. I mean, even triathlons, it's you swim, bike, run, right? Mm-hmm. Because it's dangerous putting athletes in the water.
Already fatigued.
Yeah. Exactly. So I don't know his name, unfortunately, because I heard this story on the weekend from Alice, but it's like really, really tragic. And they didn't cancel the competition. They kind of went on, and after further examination, there was a lot of things at fault from the organisation, from the CrossFit Games behalf. They should have never programmed a run, then a swim. These guys are like hybrid athletes, right? They're good at everything, but they're notoriously known not to be the strongest swimmers because they're trying to be good at so many different skill sets.
Yeah, and swimming's very unique in terms of technique.
And especially in open water. Yeah. I mean, it's hard enough trying to stay in your lane in a swimming pool, but when you go out in the sea and you're just seeing, you have to pop your head up, see a buoy. I mean, it's very difficult to stay en route.
Get kicked and you get arms everywhere.
You name it. So it turns out a lot of people have boycotted the CrossFit Games now because of the incident. I mean, a few years, COVID sort of time, Greg Glassman, the CEO of CrossFit, said some things. I'm pretty sure, do you know what? I can't remember this off the top of my head, but I'm pretty sure it was transphobic stuff and that sort of thing. And anyway, that made a lot of people kind of go off CrossFit. Then so a lot of people, CrossFit just stopped going to doing the games and the regional stuff. I think they lost their sponsor with Reebok, and then someone else sponsors them now. I'm not entirely sure. I think it's changed a couple times over. So the kind of it stopped being such a thing, and Netflix cancelled their deal with them and stopped making documentaries. As they used to have a documentary series called The Fittest on Earth, which really popularized it as a sport. And now you've got the rise of Hyrox, you've got the rise of ATHX, and you've got these other kind of like functional fitness competitions which are rising in popularity compared to CrossFit. You still have a lot of CrossFit competitions, but they're not like officially ran by CrossFit. So there's kind of, it's just in a weird position. And some CrossFitters look at Hyrox and take the piss and say, it's not skillful, it's just one event. And I can kind of see that because
CrossFit's very technical, isn't it?
It's very technical. There's so many different movements you need to know. And it was all about training for the unknown. That's always been CrossFit. It's like, be ready for anything. But best book that I have read on like mindset and on fitness is Ben Bergeron's Chasing Excellence.
Such a good book. It goes, I think it's the 2016 CrossFit Games. So he's like CrossFit coach. He had Katrina Thorisdottir.
Yeah,
and it went through her. They pretty much for that year they didn't tell anyone where it was until the night before.
Yeah,
they go to this random like desert or some random
I think
place.
It was a random ranch in a desert.
Yeah, maybe
Texas, maybe.
Yeah, sounds about right. And stuff like flights being cancelled and they having to sleep on the floor of the airport and things like that. But just a fantastic. I mean, I'll probably reread it in the next couple of weeks. Is just like on mindset and on dealing with uncertainty and framing things as opportunity rather than inconvenience.
Yeah.
But yeah, the whole thing about that, like you say, it's very, very technical, and they pride themselves almost, obviously too much considering what happened a couple of years ago at pushing the limits and switching things up potentially in some cases where they shouldn't.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm no expert on the matter. I only heard about it, and I used to be a lot more into the CrossFit world. The past 5 years, I've kind of lent away from it, although I still do comps. But the world has taken a lot from CrossFit. Look how popular class gyms are. I mean, I run one myself. You see class gyms and community-driven gyms are now the most popular sort of facility. And that all really originated from CrossFit. F45, sure, they were there as well. And they're still a worldwide brand, but now you're seeing a lot more independent, community-driven gyms and franchises open up. And that I believe is kind of come from CrossFit as a whole. And that model works. It's doing workouts together as a group, and it's almost bringing that team sport element into the gym rather than everyone just goes to the gym and does their own thing, which is a model that can work for a lot of people. But if you go, for instance, I was on Pure Gym on the weekend. I walk in there, and the majority of people are in their 20s and 30s. As where you go to a classes gym, that like here or many others, the age range is a bit more like 40s and 50s, late 30s. Get some people in their early 60s, but it's that more of that demographic. Once people start to have a family, their social time reduces. Like it's a time for connection and community in the gym space rather than just the workout too. So you can kind of see how it's kind of crossed over, and it's becoming more of a thing rather than just going down to the local pub. It's going to the gym. You know,
yeah.
Pubs are closing left, right, and centre.
Yeah, and people saying that dry Jan is terrible for pubs because they're already having a tough time.
Yeah,
I mean Tunbridge, where I live, where I lived in North Tunbridge, you'd walk into town, and if I was as an 8-year-old to do a pub crawl, I wouldn't make it even to the high street. There were so many pubs between like the suburbs, like on the outskirts and the main high street, that you just wouldn't even make it in. There were like 6 or 7 before you even got there. And then another probably 12 or 13 in the town itself. And it's not a big old town.
I think it's about 1,000 pubs a year in the UK shut.
Yeah, I mean, it's halved in Tunbridge.
Yeah.
But it is, the social spaces are moving very much more towards the fitness side of things.
Yeah.
Especially our age group, a lot fewer people are drinking. It's a lot more, socially acceptable. In some cases, it depends what kind of groups you're in. I still have mates that really have to try hard to say no on nights out because they'll just get absolutely rinsed for it. But you said about some of the categories, some of the parts of the comp being easy and that you'd breeze through it. What makes, what's yours and Alice's strengths? Have you got similar strengths within the comp?
Well, I think it's just the MetCon component it's easy, like, because it's a pair workout, one works, one rests.
Okay.
And the weights and the movements aren't that hard. And we're so used to those high intensity MetCons, like the one at ATHX. It just so happens to be like the movements in there are quite strong from Alice and ours. And we did it on the weekend and we were like, that's all right. Yeah. And some people would do that. If you've never done a MetCon before, or a CrossFit style workout like an AMRAP or a chipper or an EMOM or a rounds for time, gosh, you do that and you suffer. Like, it's basically like a tricep.
I was going to say, you just said a load of random words if no one's heard them before. AMRAP, EMOM.
Well, I mean,
MetCon, metabolic conditioning.
Yeah, MetCon is a metabolic
to use its government name.
So it's basically putting gym exercises into a circuit performed at a high intensity, done as many, like you're trying to do it as fast as possible, whether it's round based, whether it's time based, or whether it's rep based. You've got a certain amount of reps to work through. So having got that base, having done CrossFit style workouts for, let's say 10 years now, 11 years.
It's your bread and butter, isn't it? It's how you train if you're not really training for anything specific, right? Like that, you're still having those in there. And
the strength stuff her and I are good at, it's just that conditioning one is just going to suck. But there's no way around it.
Mm-hmm. So we've got a few days out from the comp. This is recorded on a Tuesday. It will come out on the Thursday. The competition's on the Sunday.
Yeah.
How do you prep a few days leading up to it?
So, like, strength work, I've done all I can now. Like, I'm not going to get any stronger this week. So I did some heavy lifting this morning, but that's going to be my last heavy lifting session. I just did some squats, did some overhead press, didn't do any deads because I did some squats. And then aerobic capacity training I can do pretty much like 2 to 3 days before. So I'll probably get out for a run and do some bike work tomorrow, Thursday. Friday, very much so. I could potentially do like a little jog or something on the rower, for instance. Just keeping the heart ticking along, but nothing intense that intense. Saturday, nothing, maybe some mobility and a walk. Focus on just getting some carbohydrates in. And then we compete at 4 o'clock on a Sunday, which is annoying.
Awkward time.
Yeah, it's
awkward time.
So
not horrendous, but kind of awkward.
Yeah, end of day competing's never fun. So it's just like, I'll just try and sleep as long as possible, wake up at a decent time, and then get over and crack on with it. But as I say, I haven't really been taking this comp like too seriously, because I want it to be an element of play and fun, and it's a new experience. So there's not too much pressure on it. The real pressure will be if I like it, it's that next one where I'm going to apply a lot more pressure to it. And then obviously as soon as I finish this comp, I go straight into prep for the half marathon.
Hell yeah.
And then I pretty much, as soon as I've finished that, I guess I'll have maybe a week or two deload, and then be prepping for the next ATHX if goes well. If not, I'll probably find another CrossFit comp to compete in instead.
Have you got a kind of target in mind for each of? I know you want to enjoy it, and it's going to be fun with Alice, like as a duo, as a pair competing. Have you got specific targets in mind for the individual lifts, for the squat, overhead press, and deadlift?
Yeah, I mean, I should be able to get 90 for a single overhead press. It's not one of my strongest movements because of my buggered shoulders. I would have much preferred it to be a 1 rep max bench press, but
I mean, it's even you say, talking on the other episode about your rugby injuries and all of your shoulder problems, still to be able to overhead press anywhere around body weight is super impressive.
It is. Yeah, no, it is. There's no doubt. I mean, the doctors told me I'd never be able to do a snatch again or a clean and jerk. And I'm just like, no, like
fair for most people, but
yeah. So it's fine. So 90 I'm aiming for on the overhead press. Back squat for 3, I've been doing 190 for 3s, but it fucks me up. I mean, it's tough. So I'm thinking maybe 185, 180, because I need to leave something in the tank, because 5 minutes after that I'm doing a 5 rep max deadlift, which should be it could be stronger if prepped well. I mean, if I was fighting fit, it should be around the 230, 240, but it'll be about 225, I think I'll aim for. But yeah, decent numbers. That's probably
very solid numbers.
Those will be the strong bits. What I would like to get to would maybe be a strict press of 100. That would be badass. Up to a 3 at 200, and then like a 5 at 230, 240. That would be the next comp I'd like to get to. But then that increase in strength is going to be probably a little sacrifice in cardiovascular conditioning.
The sliders, spinning plates, one goes up, the other goes down a little bit.
So, the beauty of it is it's the first competition of the year. So there's no scores. No one knows how anyone's competing in this. We'll have scores on the day and see the weekend as the weekend goes on, because people are competing Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So you've got individual men, individual women, you've got same-sex pairs, and then you've got mixed pairs. Mm-hmm. So we'll get a feel of where we're at after the weekend. And then I guess when it's the same selection of workouts for the year. So when we compete again in 6 months, 8 months time, we'll have better targets and know what we need to aim for, what we need to improve our times on. It'll probably be our strengths are probably up in the top percentile. I imagine that MetCon will probably be towards the top percentile, and then maybe the conditioning is mid. Mm-hmm. So
after your half marathon, you never you talk about the sliders up and down. Your conditioning is going to be pretty good.
I'm going to get Alice running, most importantly.
Yeah, that's true. It is working together to make sure you're both fine fit.
And frequently calling her saying, "Have you been doing your running?" So cracking the whip with that. But competing is a beautiful thing. It enables you to push to limits you haven't pushed to before, and it's a humbling experience as well, because you go there and then you think, "Holy shit, I'm not that great," and it destroys your ego, and you're like, "I have to improve. I have to get better." So I do like competing, especially when you're doing, like when I sign up for runs. I'm not a freaking runner. I want to, there's maybe parts of me that I want to run, but you know, you go.
There's got to be some part of you.
Yeah,
and you can't want to go to North Korea that bad.
Yeah, I mean, so then you like you end up running and like, damn, there's some fast people out there. So it's always humbling, and it's good to kind of bring your ego down, and actually I'm not that great. I can improve substantially, you know.
And the endurance side from the mental point of view is quite different to the intense workouts. Having to just sit in your mind for that long, spending a lot of time doing that. I don't know how TikTok edits are going to see you through. Are you still going to have the same tactic? I know when you go out for your runs and stuff, it's like, you know, your intense workouts, you've got your TikTok edits on, your motivations. Do you reckon you're going to stick on those for your big sessions?
Intervals.
Yeah.
No, there's some playlists I have, but I actually, looking back when I was doing marathon preps before, podcasts I was listening to, and then also like movie soundtracks, lots of Hans Zimmer.
Yes, because Time I have on repeat.
Yeah, I the thing is, I like, so if you listen to an album from like a Hans Zimmer album, there are periods in the film which are obviously they have a lot more inspiring music. Mm-hmm. So I like going through those, like you go through those lulls and then you might have
crescendo.
Yeah, and that then you're inspired for a bit. And so there's journeys with that. Is it John Williamson who did all the...
Oh, don't ask me.
Oh, Charlie.
I just about
Jurassic
know Hans
Park and, you know, Star Wars and...
Oh, not Andrew Lloyd Webber.
Maybe Lloyd Webber. I'd Google it.
Maybe.
Correct me, because that would annoy me if I am wrong.
We'll find out afterwards. Because I have a question now, which is, have you got any superstitions, pre-race superstitions?
We're actually all going to a concentration camp in and they're going to do some tests and lobotomies on us, and you know.
Superstitions, not conspiracies. Or real things.
Pre-race superstitions. No, not really.
Like before bed, do you ever, you know, I don't know. You got some people that will write things down before. They might, I don't know, they might have their kit laid out on the floor.
No, I don't really do that.
No, they might eat the same meal. I had someone at uni. They said that before this is ridiculous, and no wonder they were so anxious. Was before an exam, they weren't allowed to go up an odd number of stairs.
No.
Okay, fine.
I'm not weird like that. I just eat my carbs, follow my training plan, get some decent sleep. Boom, I'm there.
Yeah.
There's
keep it simple.
Yeah, I've never really. Some rugby, maybe I had a bit more of a superstition before it, and like certain songs I'd listen to. But that was real. Like, there's risk involved with that. Going on a run, there's not a lot of risk.
No, there's no running's child's play. John Williams, it is John Williams.
It is John Williams. I knew it. I doubted myself there.
You should never doubt yourself, guy.
I think you doubt when you're podcasting, you're thinking, gosh, what if I'm wrong on this fact?
Oh, no.
Yeah.
The expert on soundtracks.
Yeah, the expert.
Can't get it wrong.
Well, you know, Pirates of the Caribbean, another fantastic soundtrack to listen to whilst you're running, especially longer distance stuff. But that one was, that's Hans Zimmer. But I think he only did Dead Man's Chest. I don't think he did Curse of the Black Pearl and At World's End. Or maybe he did World's End and Dead Man's Chest. Anyway, you guys go and listen to those albums next time you're on a run or on a long ride, and you're going to be taken into a world of pirating. And you're going to go...
Make sure you don't go to your neighbour's house and steal something.
Well, why are pirates pirates?
Why are pirates pirates?
Because they are.
Oh, for goodness sake.
See, that's a good one.
That was a good one.
No, that was from a freaking rugby tour I went to when I was about 10 years old.
You sure it's not from a Christmas cracker? It's a classic little, like a penguin joke or a Christmas cracker
It was
joke.
like 2010 rugby tour to Dungeness. No, not Dungeness. Bognor Regis.
Yeah, the Isle of Wight.
Yeah, Bognor Regis, and it was the pirate tour, and all the dads were saying that joke all the time when they were pissed up, and it was like,
fair. Dad joke. It's a good dad joke.
Yeah, but when you hear it about a million times, it's yeah.
Well, Guy, best of luck for the weekend.
Yeah.
I'll be foot up thinking about you on Sunday competing, and looking forward to doing a recap video down the line, recap podcast, talking about the whole experience, and then gearing up the more we find out about North Korea.
Yeah.
Well,
big time.
Thank you for listening. Drop us a follow if you haven't already. Episodes every Monday and Thursday. Join the Barn Gym community to join the 7-day challenge, and then we'll be putting out loads of courses for different types of power building, strength training, running, and all of that jazz. Follow on socials and leave a comment about anything. Who knows if you got to the end. But Guy, thank you. Sounds like you need to go have a nap.
Well, no, I need to go back to work actually. But anyway, thank you, Charlie.
Nice.
Catch you guys later. Bye.
See ya.